line. Reinhardt just kind of having a free will to walk forward. And oh my God, this Genji is absolutely popping off.
Sure, you need these picks. You need to go in here. The dually is going to quickly and swiftly dodge roll to take down that Nautilus here, securing the top. Not quite going to get this pick right here, but you're going to take down the reflux. Low board into the level 3. Oh my God. Yo.
Oh, he's done for. He is done for.
Hello friends and welcome back to WSSEA. We are here one more time in the realm of Overwatch 2, and honestly it has been such a trip to get through this whole season with the person over here to my, well, left or right depending on where you're sitting, but it's Hot Sauce jumping on in for grand finals. And what a matchup do we have today?
Oh man, it's going to be super exciting. Both of these teams still undefeated as time has gone on. Sayla, Slamtown, we've seen I think on stream at least once, but they not only are they undefeated, they haven't dropped a single map as well. Prairie on the other side of things, we've seen a lot of them here recently in those quarter and semifinals. Senator Slime and the crew undefeated as well, only dropping one map throughout their series. And for Slamtown, they came incredibly close last season. They got second place, only losing a game in the previous season. So you got to believe they're going to be hungry for that championship. But for Prairie, it's their first season here as well, and already performing so very well.
Absolutely, Hot Sauce. We've had the privilege of being able to document a lot of Prairie's run on one side of the bracket, but now they're meeting their ultimate match. It's been one undefeated team going down so far to Prairie, but can they do the same thing to Slamtown, who, as we documented them in the regular season, had an incredible run. Like we said here, not a single map dropped. Even throughout playoffs, this should be one for the history books, and beyond that, it is one for the whole legacy of the Washington State Scholastic Esports Association, because what this is going to stand for is who's going to usher in this new era. Already, we're seeing this big divide grow between the teams that are really beginning to build out incredible rosters here across not only Overwatch but other esports and everybody else. Sayla and Prairie both want to be at the very head of that run.
Yeah, I think it's, we've seen a lot of 2-0s throughout the regular season, so I'm really excited for this one. These are two teams that haven't got to meet yet, in that regular season or obviously the postseason run here until that grand finals. It's still going to only be a best of 3, so every map is going to be crucial. Of course, we get to start out on Hybrid, Paraíso, head over to Escort, and then if we happen to need it, we will end up on Control. And if for some reason there is a tie, I think that final tiebreaker would be Clash. So, I'm happy. I like the Hybrids and the Escorts. That's what we get to start out with here today. So, big smile on my face all the way around.
Yeah, Hybrid, Escort, these are really peak Overwatch. These are, I think, where a lot of memories are made throughout Overwatch 1 and now into Overwatch 2 for both of us, Hot Sauce. And hey, we aren't doing Kings Road this time. As you noted, it is Paraíso that we're going to be diving into first. And now we've got a 2-squad set up here. We've talked a lot about Senator Slime as the head of the Prairie High School side, representing in blue right over there. But Sayla has been so good as a 5-stack. And I think that this is going to be the first time where really this play around your top 500 player strategy is no longer going to be enough to bring you to victory here. And so it's going to be up to the entirety of these 5 players on the blue, on the left, to try to take it home. But honestly, Hot Sauce, at the same time, I think that the growing storyline that's been coming out of Prairie's run is not necessarily just, hey, they are undefeated. And that's because that's certainly grabbing the headlines, but what is coming from that is a rock solid foundation on how to play this game at an incredibly high level.
Yeah, I gotta believe we're gonna see Senator Slime starting out on that Junker Queen. Don has had a ton of success on the Genji as well, and honestly, Morphine Time, Ragu, I definitely remember some of the names, but it's been so long since we've got to see Slamtown on stream that I can't even remember exactly who's playing what role as well. So I'm interested to see that as we get ready here for Paraíso as well, and I'm equally excited for this map because I believe we've only gotten to see this map one time throughout the regular season as well. We talk about Kings Row, that we get to see time and time again. So certainly excited for the layout here today.
Yeah, I think that, in my opinion, Paraíso is one of the most exciting hybrid maps to watch, and part of that comes down to how wonky your approaches to this first point can be. I know that the Northwest Passage is something that I've been asking to see season after season, league after league. That is basically where you go ball, and you can do crazy swings around the big gaps on that first point in order to buy a lot of space, and furthermore, get really dynamic engages. But there's a lot of other potential for some of the hyper-mobile, damage-oriented tanks that we've been seeing Senator Sign play that could also come to the table. Junker Queen could be something that they go back to. Doomfist is also a really big player on this map. So with all those angles in mind, the battle lines are drawn, and we're about to dive into, as you said, Hot Sauce, a fading and frighteningly short series here, a best of 3 to take it all home here for WSSEA. But as we move on into this final matchup, of course, it's probably best that we thank our sponsors, beginning, of course, as always, with ZOTAC, who have been doing such a fantastic job just bringing high school, middle school, Scholastic esports in general to the masses through immense support of WSSEA, LANFest, and beyond. We want to give them a big shout out across all their social media platforms, so make sure that if you guys are posting, use hashtag powered by ZOTAC or ZOTAC USA when you post, and make sure you also check out their growing community here on Discord.
Yeah, we wouldn't be getting through this without LANFest as well. So huge shout out to LANFest for continuously building healthy communities through gaming with over 20 different chapters across the United States and over 150 different events every single year. So we strongly encourage you to head over to lanfest.com, check out the local chapters, and hopefully find an event near you.
And finally, bringing up the rear here for our big 3 at the very top of this all, it's Seattle-built PCs. These guys are masters of their craft, building handcrafted competitive PCs for basically any need that you have. If you're a streamer, a content creator, if you're an esports pro, or if you're someone who is looking to just draw every last little bit out of your work, make sure that you guys go over to Seattle-built PCs. They're, as local builders, supporting WSSEA, it's really a great relationship that we've been able to forge with them season after season now. So if you're looking for a custom PC built by people who care, check out Seattle Built PCs at seattlebuilt.com.
Absolutely love to hear it. A huge shout out to all the sponsors here for their continued support. We certainly appreciate each and every one of them. But man, am I excited for this one. 2 undefeated teams. They've yet to clash head to head. Both just littered with a plethora of talent. Going to be an exciting one as we get ready to start out here on that hybrid Paraíso, as Nyarko had mentioned. And do you think we're going to see some of these fast rollout comps again with the Juno or the maybe even the Lucio? I know you love Lucio here. Or, you know, do we get to see a Sigma here? In times in the past, we've seen Sigma perform pretty well on this map as well.
Hybrid is definitely the game mode where you have velocity at the highest premium, particularly on attacker's side. And so I think that you're already teasing out exactly what I want to see. Want Rick Ball on one side met with an unstoppable on the other. So I think that you know, facing off against solid teams by which to create a very, very solid front line. And you are in fact side of Prairie. Where can D.Va actually have defense?
Something that we haven't seen a ton of from Senator Slime, but we saw the skills showcased earlier. They are comfortable in many of these different tanks. Of course, Dawn on that Genji, very, very used to that. I like the Mei here as well. Kind of an interesting set of comps. I mean, honestly, Morphin Time on this Ramatra, they kind of ringing a bell now, familiar with them playing that Ramatra, of course, Annihilation, that you can't think of a better name for an ultimate, as it does bring just that annihilation to the crew. But the walls will fall, and we're going to get right down into the action.
And already we are seeing a little bit more of a slow force here from the blue side. Instead of standing on main bridge, instead they're one step further back here to deny any long sight lines from Selah High School. That being said, this is a very nice gradual push. We are on Dimensional right now, representing the Slamtown support side, just trying to keep staying alive. Won't be able to do so. So that is going to be a first pick over to Prairie High School, who are doing a good job of bringing things back into their tempo. Mr. Meowski, though, also on the Brigitte, does go low, has to kind of walk out of sight line for the time being, and that could give an opportunity now for Morphine Time to just lead the charge deep into enemy territory. Dawn trying to get away on a sliver, will be able to do so, but look at how much time this is buying the red side, as now D.Va is demeched in an incredibly awkward position. Ragu gonna follow through, dropping the wall to ensure that the tank cannot go anywhere, and Prairie High School stumbled for the first time in the series.
Yeah, I mean, that was a beautiful wall from Ragu to close off that tank, find the pick, and with that, they have a little bit more of an easier time finding this Brigitte, finding this Genji here as well. So after a little bit of a stumble, I mean, it was Prairie who got that first initial pick, but Sela able to lock it down here, find the picks they need to, control the payload, and continue to begin that push here.
And that's a very fast take, you know. I really did think that Prairie High School would be able to better capitalize off that support pick, but Sela really did know how to feather the gas pedal. They saw Morphine Time get their cooldowns up, and they realized, hey, Senator Slime is a little bit isolated here, and it just comes down to the fact that everybody kind of had to roll backwards on Prairie High School, and now look what this is feeding into. As soon as you get that first point down, the second one oftentimes goes very quickly. Dimensional is going to get picked, but on the other side, Beyonce is going to be forced off. Will in fact swap to Venture, and we're going to see how this matchup now fares, as right now Prairie are up a player, but Senator Slime is going low once again.
Going low once again. We'll back off to safety, get healed up here a bit. Has the ult to work with as well. Ragu has had that Blizzard for quite some time. Hasn't been able to pop it just yet. Venture's ult incredibly devastating as well. We are going to see the Blizzard come out, and now Velcon with a two-piece of herself. Morphine Time will throw the fisticuffs and find Beyonce. Continuous success as Senator Slime will go down to Ragu as well, and you're absolutely right. This second point coming fairly quickly. I mean, there's still 4 minutes on the clock, and they haven't even reached it yet.
And you can see just how much more Prairie High School is getting pressured in this matchup than they have all season. Genji going to try to go for a Desperation Dragon Blade here. Going to, in fact, get popped as they were looking for a flank. Beyonce going to fall as well without a DPS available. Not only is this going to be second point claim, but in fact, Sailor are going to get some free yardage off of this as well. Now, they desperately got to stop a stagger, as unfortunately, Too Salty for You gets fatally wounded across this corner. Now they're in an awkward position. Mr. Miowski going to be able to extract Senator Slime, but Sela High School are now looking to speedrun this first map.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we haven't seen from Prairie as of late. They usually make very smart decisions. They've had a lot of success here in the postseason as well, but Sela, the Vikings, just another equally as talented team, and really just kind of giving them something that they haven't gone up against yet, so maybe not quite as prepared for a team that plays this well together like a cohesive unit. And now the blade's coming out. Senator Slime's going to find the first one on the Sane, but Morphine Time in the Annihilation picks up on Don. Velcon, Morphine Time, and back to Velcon, all getting a little piece of the action as they find doubles and triples here for Morphine. Another beautiful team kill coming out of Sela as they get very, very close to this final destination and still have more than 4 minutes to work with here in the Arco.
Prairie High School feeling as if they look like the teams they were facing off against earlier on in the season now. A Dawn Ultimate used to mean doom for the enemy team, but it is completely brickwalled by Sela, who yet again are trying to win a fight right here on the point, rally on their backs, Sane trying to keep everybody topped off, and that'll be enough to walk it in at 3 minutes, 51 seconds on the clock. This is going to be a very difficult comeback now to be mounted by Prairie.
Yeah, I mean, that's an insanely fast push and something that we're used to seeing Prairie do on their own. So for Sela to come in here and have such a dominating performance against another one of these undefeated teams who's, like we mentioned earlier, only dropped a single map throughout the regular and postseason here, now having a lot of trouble kind of feeling that pressure that they're used to applying to their opponents. So how do they make these proper adjustments? We saw Junker Queen kind of come out late there. We started with that Diva. Are they going to fall back to more of that comfortability pick that's worked with them throughout the regular season, or are they going to try something different here?
I really think that at this point, Prairie just have to stick to their guns and notably stick to comfort. I don't want to sound like it's confirmation bias here, Hot Sauce, or hindsight being 2020, but I do feel like the one shakiest map we did watch was a matchup for Prairie High School where they were playing on Hybrid. Notably, it was Kings Row that time, but Senator Slime was on Diva for a little bit, and it just did not do a whole lot of work, and so perhaps electing to go that early was actually what allowed for the House of Cards to fall in favor of Sela for that first setup. Now the question is, can they get 3 points back in a time equating to what we saw out of Sela?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, we see Senator Slime on that Orisa, but they were just able to capture that payload so quickly, and it's going to be hard, I think, to... I have no doubts that Prairie can find that final destination, but I just don't know if they can do it as quickly as Sela has done it.
And you look at the contrast in how these two teams are playing. It felt like Prairie High School was giving far more respect to Sayla than vice versa. Sayla trying to hold on that main bridge, going morphing time on the Sigma. You talked about how strong of a pick this is in this situation. We can see why right now. Beyonce already going to be picked off, trying to find a flank angle on this fight. Senator Slime driven up topside, looking for another angle in. But while that is happening, Ragu's just going to open up, knock down another one. Too salty for you, Mr. Miowski, both gone. And this is the second time we've seen a mistake like this coming out of the tank from Prairie High School. They tried to find an angle, they tried to go in, but because of Ragu being on this May, walls mean that they're unable to get back to the rest of their team, and those remaining four are sitting ducks.
Ragu has been phenomenal on this May. We saw it on offense as well, cutting off that Diva, demeching, able to finalize that kill. We see it again, separating these fights, able to isolate some of these fights, and just give their team a huge advantage here. Kind of compiled with the damage of Velcon. Morphine doing a phenomenal job on Sigma here as well, and everything just kind of falling into place here for Sela.
Yeah, and the problem with this right now is that Prairie High School already are kind of past that point of no return where it's going to be incredibly hard to get anywhere waiting what Sayla have on the clock, and so they're fighting for scraps at this point. That being said, they do have a double pick on the DPSs of Red Squad, and in fact, Sane goes down as well. Morphine Time decided to invest their ultimate here, gets the drop, knocking out Senator Slime. Dawn staying alive for a little bit longer, will eventually fall, but I don't know if that's going to be enough for a full-on hold, as now while Morphine Time is dead, Ragu and Falcon are back up. The question is, will they try to hold? This is going to be Venture on point, buying a little bit of time inside of the ground, hopping on up, will be met here with the mace to the face from Sane, managing to slide to the side. Now Velcon still managed to just push and pull the blue squad, forcing the rally out of the Brigitte.
Doing a beautiful job of the ebb and flow of Overwatch. Is Sela for the time being. The Blizzard's going to come down here as well. Salty was able to find one before being traded back, but Morphine quick to get another. Senator Slime will pick up on Juno here as well. The trade's coming back and forth. Both tanks still standing for the time being, but Senator Slime on that two-piece picks up on Ragu. Without May, things are going to get exponentially tougher here. Sigma dancing around on the battlefield, but almost down. The rock coming in. The stun is there. Sigma holds on, but not for long. Beyonce with a double kill, and with that, they should be able to wrap it up here and hopefully lock down the payload.
Yeah, Velcon going to wisely go on the fallback strategy now. That being said, Sayla was able to buy a lot of time, and frankly, I don't think that Prairie High School responded well to that split priority on the point there. Morphine Time was a sliver. All you needed was a few straight pellets of Beyonce to be sent their way, and you would have knocked this tank out maybe 10 seconds prior, and think about how much that can make a difference here when you're walking on eggshells and when you're dancing on the knife's edge. If you look at the time currently, Prairie High School need to basically dominate the second point if they want a shot.
Yeah, they really have to find an easy push here on this second point. Everybody kind of drifting away from the payload. It's even going to stop there for a second as well. So maybe a small break apart in the communication as they look to try and take this high ground here off the back of Junker Queen. They're going to have to wait for Venture to kind of emerge back here as well. He's just kind of resting up top, being a nuisance, not getting overzealous, not overextending, but being that annoyance that they need to be.
See, unable to really find a flank point here. Ragu's just buying so much space for the team, but it might not be needed here. Sane does go down. Orbital Laser from Dimensional is going to stabilize, and Dawn and Mr. Miowski are actually both going to be knocked out of the running here. Too salty for you, too low to keep everybody topped off by themselves. And Brigitte slinks back into the shadows as Beyonce tries to find a new angle, but while that happens, Senator Slime is yet again isolated and knocked down. And now look at this. Only about 2.5 minutes left on the clock, and notably, Sayla are back into a favorable position. Now, the question is, can Beyonce and Dawn's ultimates try to imbalance this?
Yeah, we saw Beyonce have a lot of success there earlier. Dawn, unfortunately, not as much, so maybe looking for a little bit of redemption here. Unfortunately, they're going to have to work their way up just a bit, and they're doing a good job of kind of keeping Senator Slime at bay. We do see this flank coming in here as well. Unfortunately, the knife is going to miss for the time being. The wall comes in. Velcon able to find Too Salty. Again, they're losing these early supports. Ragu finds Senator Slime. The Blizzard will be dropped here as well as they look to stagger out on the ult economy. Morphine Time still has the ult. Velcon about to pick up theirs as well. Beyonce, Dawn still haven't popped theirs, so unfortunately no real value coming from these little fights that we're seeing here, and time just dwindling away at this point.
Oh, and this is such an awkward situation to be in. Credit to Dawn and Beyonce for holding their hand once we saw the picks come out. But the picks should be coming out in favor of Sayla right now. We needed Beyonce and Dawn to work as virtual engagers. And unfortunately, now they're brought into dire straits up above. Dragon Blade going to be activated here. Velcon has her ultimate available. Sane trying to bring the whole team back. Ragu going to assist with a brilliant wall. And in fact, while we do finally see a point touch from Prairie High School, it might be too little too late, as now Velcon is going to attempt to return fire. Mr. Miowski is down. Too salty for you, activating the rally, but is it too little too late is the question. Morphine time going to be taken out by Senator Slime, and with a knife in the air, Senator will pick up another one, but Beyonce is dead on the back end of the fight, and yet still, Sailor are able to roll back around the corner and try to hold deep in enemy territory. Ragu gonna go icicle, buys himself time with the wall, and in fact, will also drop one to deny Dawn an escape route, meaning the Genji will have to try to forge deeper into enemy territory. Morphine time in trouble. Sane is dead. Dimensional have to shoulder the entire burden of trying to heal off the team, and finally Prairie break their heads above water. That being said, they got to push this final meter without Dawn or Too Salty for You available. Senator Slime leads the charge, and they will try to find the second point. 2 meters left on the clock alongside 20 seconds. Velcon is dead, but Ragu buys time. Let's get an icicle touching the point. Sane activates the rally, going incredibly low. Dimensional tried to hand off, but unfortunately it may be too little too late, as they will finally push towards the point. Now the question is, how much more can Beyonce get off the Death Blossom? Red Squad rallies right back. Dawn will be able to kill Dimensional on the back end of this fight, but Senator Slime could not hold. Has to try to make it back to the point, and the wick is burning. Hot Sauce, first map will go to Sayla.
Yeah, I got to give it up to May on this. Huge plays from May. It doesn't matter if it's the wall or, again, that Blizzard coming up clutch right at the end. I mean, Senator Slime was on an absolute tear there. They only needed a couple meters left, but May coming in with a huge clutch. All play of the game, though, is going to go to Morphin time here on this Ramatra. The Annihilation coming in, getting some assists from Velcon. Velcon got the double here. Morphine time's going to wrap it up with that triple to close things out, but a beautiful, beautiful series of plays here by Slamtown, not only on that offensive side, but on the defensive side here as well.
Yeah, and it really is absurd to see, even at this top level, how many subdivisions of skill there are, Hot Sauce. You know, I was really praying that this would finally be the time we get taken the distance, but I think Slamtown is going to make that incredibly difficult. And just think about the fact that we are contrasting Prairie, who against anybody else dominated the season, up against a team that very much at the same level was building the same kind of story, yet they still remain a cut above.
Well, luckily for Prairie, they will get their map pick at this point as we get ready for Escort. So maybe something that they're a little bit more comfortable with. I think May just does devastating things for this composition as well. And Senator Slime and Beyonce, the crew, just kind of continuously playing in that. Genji not always doing very well against a May. So I think this composition for Sela is set up a little bit better as well. You know, in the past, we saw Prairie comfortable finding a lot of swaps, even Dawn from Venture to, I think, maybe even Junkrat at one point, but I know an Ash, a Widow was there. So we've seen him comfortable on multiple different characters before, but this time just kind of trying to stick with that Genji, hoping that it works out. And I just feel like the composition here for Sela is kind of set up a little bit better to play against Prey. I don't know if maybe they did their homework, maybe they checked out the VOD review, but whatever it is, they came with a plan and they're executing it near flawlessly at the moment.
It is one of those difficult things to try to navigate here, Hot Sauce, where, you know, we talk about how, watching the clips, watching the VODs is obviously very, very important. And I think that maybe to a degree, we're just trying to buy people to come on in, check out WSSEA, check out LANFest, of course. But here at this top level, this is where it actually matters. This is where having footage on the books means a world of difference for either of these teams. And notably, Prairie has kind of been denied a lot of views as to what Sayla does.
Yeah, for me, you know, it's how do they take this deep breath, right? How do they reset? Obviously, we talk about, you know, the physical aspect, and we often touch base on that mental aspect. It's equally as important. You can't allow these previous games to go on and affect your mental. You have to GG's, go next. And honestly, I love that we're on Gibraltar as well. Now, we've seen Senator Slime on the Diva, who does play well here. We've seen Senator Slime on this Winston prior in the semifinals as well. So something that they've certainly had success with. Morphine time, though, on the Doomfist. So I'm really interested to see how these swaps play out. Ragu, though, off of the May and onto a Widow themselves.
Yeah, Ragu, I think we've only seen one dimension of so far, and that is great coordination with the rest of the team on that May, knowing when to go in and just buy time in Icicle form versus when to wall, when to fall back. Now, we're just going to see how the mechanics are on this Widowmaker pick that has oftentimes brought a lot of value to Prairie. Now the question is, can they play on the other side of something like this?
Oh, hopefully they can. I'd love to see this get extended into that best of 3. I'd love it for it to go all the way. I know we've had a lot of sweeps throughout the regular season and the postseason here, but that being said, the wall will fall, and they're going to get right into it, wasting no time. Doomfist up into the face of Winston here, who's just trying to be a nuisance in that back line. Does it very, very well. Unfortunately, having a little bit of trouble finding their way in. Now looking to pick on Brigitte a bit. Ragu dangerously low. Senator Slime will find the pick on Ragu. So some early success here from Prairie. We'll see if they can continue it. Consistency is going to be key.
Yeah, a lot of the times you would see a quick swap off of this Widowmaker Ragu. In fact, going to elect to go to May here, but while the Widow was gone, that window of opportunity also meant that Blue Squad was able to get a very solid pick onto Velcon, and so this initial shove from Red Squad's side is getting delayed immensely, and I think that Senator Slime is doing great things going onto this Winston pick here. It's such an intrusive and difficult character to try to play around, and notably, it kind of has that soft counter ability where you're able to get around the roadblocks that Ragu will present towards you, and meanwhile Don diving in unfortunately cannot get anything here, and so we're gonna have to see how that call will make for a second point, because right now this is still somehow all Sayla.
Yeah, you know, again, Don, I think the Genji works well at times with that Winston, but going up against Ragu on this main, it's just set to counter Don here. More specifically, even Beyonce trying to get into that back line can be slowed down by Ragu. And the thing with Ragu is they do a great job of popping up these walls, isolating those, 5v1, 5v2 situations, and then continuously giving themselves that player advantage. So they can continue to do this. I mean, they're already having a nice, easy push here. 4:50 on the clock is plenty of time to work with for the second checkpoint.
And look at how morphine time is just all across the map, basically tailing this Winston. Senator Slime is trying to do something proactive and find picks, and while Dawn is assisting them on that front, morphine time is doing such a good job, for the most part, working as a brick wall. Finally, though, we will see purchase here from this Genji accessing the back line, and that is going to slow the roll of Sayla, but kind of notable, like what we saw with that first fight that actually went in favor of Prairie. These are happening right near the spawn, and so this is the best time in which to just try to build up charge and furthermore stabilize for your team. In fact, Senator Slime gonna use this Primal Rage a little bit early in my opinion. We're gonna see what they get out of it. Notably, not a big stagger gonna come through. Venture though diving deep into the backline. This may be a little bit of an overinvestment on their side as there's 4 minutes left on the clock here. Sailor are trying to forge forward.
Yeah, I like this play from Velcon, though. He goes so far back that they do chase. He's able to pop over the top, and now the Meteor Strike comes slamming down, finds the two-piece, looking for more. The Sleep Dart will come in, though, but already some damage has been done. They lose two. They're going to lose a third here as well. All the supports falling. Morphine time having an absolute field day in the back line as Sane will pick up onto Beyonce, and Sela doesn't look like they're slowing down anytime soon.
And one of the biggest mistakes that we have ragged on teams who have been fighting Prairie throughout this season has been is the utilization of ults at the wrong time. But frankly, it feels as if Sayla is on a totally different level when it comes to resource management. They know exactly when to deathball to find themselves not only yardage, but crucially takes on point in an instant. And that's why they're still so above tempo versus what Prairie High School is bringing to the table. 4.5 minutes on the clock to try to bring this home with one more point.
One more point to go, and much like in that first map, they really haven't stumbled much along their way here. The path to victory has been a little bit easier than what I anticipated, especially both of these undefeated teams coming in, but I feel like Prairie just hasn't had this type of pressure, this type of aggression yet this season, so they're still a little unaware of how to deal with it. Don still on the Genji, again, having a hard time with this May. The Blizzard will go down here as well, and all of these ults coming in. Don will be frozen in time as Ragu looks to put the opposing team on ice. Morphine time will find Beyonce. They continue to collect the kills, and they're putting on an absolute clinic here today.
And it's just beautiful play on all fronts from Sayla High School. We've talked about how Prairie revolves around Senator Slime bringing tempo for their team, but Sayla are just an incredible 5-stack. Look at how confident Ragu is, actually pushing back that Blizzard drop in order to ensure that Dawn has nowhere to go. And now look at this, a Meteor Strike to try to stabilize this play. 2 down on the side of Sayla High School, but Beyonce is dead. Dawn is low, and Too Salty For You is off the map. Prairie unfortunately will not be able to hold here and now. We're looking at more than 3 minutes still on the clock as Sayla walk it home for what could be their final time on offense.
351 on map number 1, 320 here on Gibraltar as well. And I mean, you know, second was not good enough. They are not happy with last year. They had an almost undefeated season in the previous season, so they have come hungry, looking to clutch it up and close out their championship in sweeping fashion. For Prairie, their backs now against the wall. It's do or die, win or go home. I'd love to see some adjustments coming out again. We haven't seen as many swaps that we're used to seeing here from Prairie, and I think this May has just been giving them one tough time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Ragu decided very quickly to swap off that Widowmaker, and the fact that on offense you're getting such value out of May gives me a pause for thought, because now we're going for the role where I think she is best, which is on this defense side with a shield support, light morphing time going back to the Sigma. Prairie so far has been unable to show a real answer to this composition, as we saw a very similar one locked in on Paraíso, and so this is do or die as you're talking about hot sauce on more than one level. The legacy, you only get to debut once. Prairie High School won on the undefeated run all the way beyond grand finals to become the champions of WSSEA, but Sayla High School want to be able to stake their claim at the very top with the throne that was denied to them from last season. Now they are here, half a map away from doing so.
Yeah, and only in their second season in Overwatch as well. So what a statement they've made here in the last 2 years. Again, I mean, only losing 1 game in the last 2 seasons and not even dropping a single map here yet in 2024 fall season, as we get ready for what could be the final match here of the grand finals. And Prairie looking to make this push. Slamtown up above, Venture dropping down, and with that, easy kills yet again. They time these out so well. Morphine time on the Sigma, finding the 2-piece, and yet again, an early set of kills here for Sela.
Velcon was able to wait in the wings completely unanswered, unseen as well. Prairie High School, I think, are feeling the pressure and are turning that into a very myopic approach to this game. Hit the point, hit it hard, and pray you could get picks, but now the return fire has just been brilliant. And now look at this, Mr. Miowski is completely split from the rest of the team. Ragu is going to go down, and while the Juno will be able to get back to safety, Velcon is here to try to find the alley-oop. Notably, though, this could have been an overinvestment from this DPS, as now, with Ragu and Dimensional both gone, we are going to start seeing a little bit more progress being made here from Prairie.
Progress is certainly what they need. They need it in bunches for the time being. Senator Slime will find one. Beyonce, now Senator Slime kicking into overdrive as they find a beautiful double kill here to make their presence known. And now just a few meters away from this first checkpoint, looking to extend that time and hopefully the longevity of this series as well. Senator Slime up into the face here, looking to just keep him at bay, looking to eat up all that space. They'll find this first checkpoint, 5 minutes, plenty of time to work with here. I'd love to see him come in and hopefully beat the time of Sela.
Morphine time, half hell, trying to stabilize, gets yoinked back into the enemy team because of the knife coming out. Senator Slime trying to bring the tempo back into their favor. Beyonce notably in a warring situation. Senator Slime trying to bail them out, activating the rampage early in this one. Ragu has a blizzard available, doesn't want to pull the trigger as Morphine time and Dimensional are both dead. And this should be enough. Prairie High School with another lease on life here for the second point are looking to walk this home.
Senator Slime showing why they're a top 500 player. They've got the skills and are now dishing out the pain here, finding a nice set of kills as they continue to push the payload here. Still 417, moving it nicely. Ragu is down, but the scary thing is Ragu has that blizzard. Sane, morphine time as well. Velcon, Dimensional, both extremely close here. So the ult economy right now favoring Sela a bit.
That being said, we are going to see one fired off here by Sela, and it's only going to find one. Notably, though, Morphine Time has the Wombo, will be able to pick up a kill, but Ragu, with 3 members of their team dead, are going to try to activate a Blizzard for the ages. That actually knocks out everybody except for Dawn and Beyonce, who are trying to hold their own to get this point locked in, but Morphine Time is holding this well as a response. Dawn with a flank angle, unfortunately, overinvest, trying to knock down the Sigma, and will find themselves on the opposite end of Gravity's agony. And now, with Sela once again holding, this is not over yet. Prairie needs one more push to try to get to point number 2.
One more push. It doesn't take much as well, but we saw him stall out right at the end there of that last match as well. So Velcon, who has been a nuisance up top, continues to pepper in the damage from above. Beyonce has the ult here as well, trying to work toward this backline to see if they can create a disruption. Now ready to pop up, and potentially we would see the ult come out here in a moment, but still fighting on. Oh! Time finds the first one in Velcon. A huge pick onto Beyonce. They're not able to use any of these ults. Dawn still holding on to theirs as well, and time again now beginning to dwindle away.
And we saw the exact same thing happen on point number 2 for Paraíso when it was Prairie High School on attack, right, Hot Sauce? Beyonce and company had their ultimates available, but picks came out, and before you knew it, they were relegated to just try to fight again. And what happened there? Ragu just gonna plink away, knock out Beyonce a second time. And so we are seeing a material advantage over to Prairie High School. They've been unable to bring it to bear upon Sayla.
They're just playing lights out Overwatch. They play so well together. The team communication, everything seems to be absolutely on point, all the way down to the basic fundamentals. And Sela just really not making many mistakes. And the minor mistakes that Prairie is making, Sela able to capitalize on every time. Brigitta throwing the face to the mace, or mace to the face, excuse me, fighting the two-piece. Senator Slime gets one, Beyonce, and now the whole crew having some late success. They should be able to find this next checkpoint, but how quickly can they get to that final destination?
You know what? Credit to Prairie High School, though. I love Senator Slime call for their ultimate. This Rampage actually was the key, anti-healing multiple members of Sayla and forcing them back. And so you're actually still looking at the double stack of DPS ultimates available for Prairie come this final point. And notably, they aren't trailing too far behind on time. They just need to go runner on these fights.
Runner, we'll see if they can do just that. Unfortunately for them, Ragu getting dangerously close to that Blizzard again. Morphine time, ready to let the Melody sing here as well. And these ults could spell disaster. We'll find at least one. The slam down, not good enough to find the pick. Senator Slime dangerously low. Brigitta as well will be the first to fall. Dimensional able to find the pick. The player advantage is in their favor. The Blizzard available to them as well here. Sane has an ult on deck and ready to flex, but it's going to be Dawn who finds the pick onto Sane. And with this, maybe a little bit of breathing room here for Prairie.
At the same time, though, one kill between Beyonce and Dawn off that ultimate means that Ragu's able to free fire a Blizzard of their own to try to stabilize this right back. Dimensional too far forward is actually going to be traded back by the enemy Juno. Ragu now incredibly low, has to try to walk back and get to the saving hands of Sane, who will fire off the rally to try to keep everybody topped up. Dawn trying to walk past this May wall for the time being. Sane, unfortunately, gets bowled over by the blue tide, but Beyonce and Senator Slime have sacrificed themselves in order to find an angle in, and now Sayla High School are trying to dig their heels in one last time. Sane is dead, but Morphine time will be able to knock out the Tracer, and that means that Prairie High School got to rally once more.
Yeah, the heels have dug in, the wall standing tall for the time being, and now it's up to Prairie to trudge through the trenches to bring this one back, to extend it into a potential overtime here and get a second opportunity. But now at this point, it seems like Sela is going to have a double lead as far as time goes, and unfortunately for Prairie, they have to regroup here. They're only going to have potentially one, maybe two more really good, solid fights here to work their way in.
And you really don't want this to go to overtime, Hot Sauce, and so two fights may be pushing it. Velcon, though, gonna find initiation on the first one. That being said, Senator Slime with a big rampage is gonna be able to anti-heal 3. Dimensional's taken down on the back end of that one. Velcon trying to fall back. Ragu, less mobile, won't be able to do the same, and Velcon still is going to fall. This should be enough to walk it in.
Hopefully it's enough to walk it in, and I gotta think that maybe Dawn on this Tracer has been a big game changer here as well, and you gotta wonder if maybe they found that swap a little earlier in some of these maps that would have had similar success, because unfortunately we saw them dominate on Genji time and time again, but it just wasn't working against that Mei. So maybe they found something that is going to work for them now. Unfortunately, the time does favor Sela Vikings in this situation.
Incredibly clean showing there. Prairie High School showing that they have the ability to get a good point going, Hot Sauce. They just got to repeat that, and furthermore, begin to outstrip their opponent. Sayla, as you noted, just has a massive time advantage here for a shove for the ages, and so far, we haven't seen Prairie been able to make the most out of a scrambly situation where they're just trying to keep things up with their overtime. So things are really going to come down to a very decisive half here as we move into the OT.
Yeah, I mean, they have to be very smart about this first initial fight as well. You know, time and time again, we've kind of seen them lose that first battle, finding, you know, Sela getting that player advantage and then just really running away with it. So they need to be very smart, very methodical, because they only have 1 minute and 2 seconds to work with. Whereas once things swap around, the same situation, right? They really can't afford to lose many battles here just because the time advantage that Sela now owns.
All right, well, United Front trying to make the most of what is going to be a very, very short time on offense if Sela High School have anything to say about it. Notably, we are to that point where, like I said, it's going to be Prairie High School just stacking on their favorite champions, and I think that this could be the deliverance. Senator Slime did a ton on this Junker team. They love the high-velocity play style, and certainly they will need it here and now to make the most of the remaining 40 seconds.
Velcon already finding that early pick, has just been a menace in that backline, does a great job of using the mobility here as well to get in and get out. Morphine Time's going to pick up on Brigitte here as Velcon is able to make that escape. So 2 early picks here for Sela, and again, that's just going to slow down that momentum of Prairie High School.
And Prairie cannot afford that whatsoever. 20 seconds left on the clock. The demands are now, can we actually touch point as a 5-stack? Velcon trying to deny that, but Morphine Time has fallen alongside Ragu. So this is the big opportunity for Prairie to make the most of the situation. They will be on the wick very, very shortly here, but notably, they will do so as 5, as long as Too Salty for You is able to stabilize in time. And in fact, Sane gets staggered really badly there by Senator Slime Knight.
Yeah, that's a huge stagger as well. That's something that potentially could allow him to win this next fight and at a minimum find this first checkpoint here as well. Sane eventually will come up on the respawn. May out into the mix here very far, but unfortunately Dimensional gets picked off by Dawn again. Having a lot of success on this Tracer. Beyonce able to find Ragu, who goes down early. The ult comes in, but it takes out Dawn as well. However, they're going to get this close checkpoint. The respawns are going to be a little bit closer. Dawn and crew is going to be back into this battle before the 3 members of Sela. And now we're seeing some late success here from Prairie as they look to battle back.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, things are inverted in an instant here. You look at the time, 3:20 is still a demanding first push here. And so Sela all of a sudden find themselves in a very awkward situation. All comes down to that massive miscalculation by Sane. Dimensional had to play a little bit more dangerously in order to try to evenly distribute kills on this Juno. Dies in kind, and so we never actually got a 5v5 at the tail end of that point. Prairie High School were able to capitalize beautifully and are even looking for more.
Yeah, the scary thing is we've got a Blizzard here with Velcon's ult as well, and that could be enough to win a fight here, push him off the payload, and burn out the wick of overtime. Senator Slime dangerously close to the ult. It comes out, but the value not there. Beyonce, Meowski, everybody falling as the melody sings. The Blizzard comes out, and Velcon finds the ult. Everybody getting a piece of the action, and a phenomenal final stand here for Sela. But I gotta hand it to Prairie. They pushed it much farther than I thought they were going to be able to. So again, if they can find a way to win a couple of these early fights, really slow down that payload from Sela, they definitely could take game number 2 away from them here and extend the series.
Yeah, the optimist in me is saying, Hot Sauce, that 3:20 probably isn't enough time for even a very solid team to push it to where Prairie High School got it. It's going to be overtime on either side, and then it all comes down to who's dropping ultimates first and whose ultimates are best at managing space. Right there, we saw just how important May pick is. I do wonder if Prairie High School could take a leap out of the book of Sela and actually go May themselves. It looks like with the current 5-stack on defense, though, they won't do so.
Yeah, I wondered that at a moment as well, but I feel like Dawn has had a lot of success on this Tracer and has kind of been in that back line looking for May, looking for Dimensional early, and those early picks, I think, allowed them to have such success here in overtime. So maybe not wanting to stray away from that just because it's something that's been working as opposed to the Genji that wasn't, but it is a thought that certainly has crossed my mind as well.
Well, this will be, I believe, the composition that, barring any fast swaps after a quick pick, will be the decision maker for Prairie High School. Here and now, Dawn, Beyonce, playing the characters that got them the first 3 points to begin with. In fact, make it 4 now on the scoreboard. Sela High School, though, are back on a Doomfist for Morphine Time, who was absolutely monstrous. Already trying to find a flank angle on the backline. Velcon also free-firing. Maywall here going to split the fight just a little bit more. Venture going to be knocked back behind in a rough situation. Can't find their way out of there. Beyonce is dead, but Dimensional, Sane, Morphine Time, and Ragu have died on the other side, and all that comes down to the efforts of Dawn, who will flit away after a big flank.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised at how much they just allow Velcon to sit up here and rain down into their backs, really not paying them much attention. But luckily for Prairie, they were able to find all of those other picks on the other side of things here and maybe having a bit of success. But the Ice Wall comes in, and now Morphine Time looking to have his way. Fisticuffs, throwing bows, going toe-to-toe, and Mr. Meowski will fall. Sane will pick up on Senator Slime. So, again, after they stumble a little bit here early in this first fight, they're going to have a lot of success, and the push is coming in.
Did Too Salty for You just win a duel versus Morphine Time? I think that they had Dawn at their back, but still, credit where credit's due. That Brigitte actually able to delay this push, and in fact, buying a lot of value here for Blue Squad means that Saela High School are actually behind the curve on their shove.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised because, I mean, they found those early picks. Even Senator Slime went down. It looked like they were about to have a lot of success, but then immediately off the back of Brigada and Don here having, you know, a little bit of success of their own. The payload, though, getting very close to this first checkpoint. Senator Slime is going to find Sane. Velcon on to Beyonce, and again, Plaid Stripes to the kill feed. A little bit of back and forth, but Don having success on this Tracer will lead to some more as Salty finds Velcon. Slime gets Ragu, and Don will wrap it up onto Juno as well. Prairie High School needing to reach deep in their pocket for this one, and now coming up huge as they find these stops. Only a minute and 20 left. I think you're absolutely right. It's going to come down to an overtime push and who can kind of stagger out these ults or work on that ult economy just a little better.
Too Salty for You on this Brigitte, going to be the only one cresting towards it soon alongside Mr. Meowski for the side of Prairie High School. And you got 3 ready to pop here for Saela. And so I think that this first point is almost inevitably going to go over to Red Squad's side. The problem is, what are you going to do after that? Will you have something to sustain you for the long run? Mr. Meowski gonna drop their ult right alongside Too Salty for You. Mighty Morphine and Sane are already both dead. Ragu without a healer at the back going to fall, and this could be enough. 46 seconds left on the clock, but notably Beyonce has almost gotten back up to their ultimate alongside Dawn. So even if the push comes through here, Saela find themselves in awkward waters, and in fact they will fall back.
Yeah, you know, they dropped those 2 ults, and they got some value, but not enough to really win that fight. And a huge pick now from Slime on Sane is going to stagger him a bit more. The tank in trouble as well, having to back off, looking to mitigate everything possible as the Maywall will come up and hope to buy a little more time, but it's Beyonce on this venture, looking to, oh my, Ramatra dangerously low, but still finds a pick on the Salty. Slime, Dawn, Beyonce now goes down as well to Velcon. The back and forth is real, but there's only 5 seconds left on the clock here.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be enough time for Morphine Time to make it back. It's going to be a slow stagger in, and they can't find it. Prairie High School out of nowhere tie the series.
Absolutely unreal from Prairie. Again, we talked about it. Their backs against the wall. Do or die. Win or go home. And your play of the game coming from Senator Slime as they're able to pull out the victory in overtime. And look at all the anti-heal coming in. The quick snaps to as he pops the head and gets the bread here. Too Salty getting involved in the action. Finding a 2-piece of their own. Beyonce will kind of end that one off in the kill feed, but a huge game by Prairie High School to bring it back and now extend it into this final best of 3. But now Sela getting to pick their map pick for the final map as well. And how big of a factor is that going to be as we get ready for Control?
Yeah, it's definitely a big question on the table here. Hot Sauce, I mean, we saw how expectations are defied whenever we play Payload, right? Those overtime pushes were incredibly valuable, but notably, Saela, I think for the first time this series, felt that kind of pressure that they were applying to Prairie throughout, especially map number 1. We saw them stagger, we saw them misposition, and from there, Prairie High School were able to get back to that exploitative play style. We've talked about that term a lot throughout the course of this, all the series we broadcast with them. They know exactly how to pick apart a team that is feeling a little bit of pressure, that may be playing a little bit too desperately here and there. And what that means is we are getting decisive final map. It is my favorite in the game. Okay, second favorite. But, you know, I'm a Lucio player. Of course I love Lijiang.
You know, I'm not going to complain because I do actually like Lijiang as well, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Control. But again, I felt like Don does so well on that Genji that they were just kind of holding on to that pick for a little too long. The composition for Sela really set up to kind of play against that, more specifically that Mei, who was just having a phenomenal game after phenomenal game. So I think that swap to Tracer has been absolutely huge for them as well. Now it's up to Sela. Can they make the proper adjustments as well to do what they need to do to come away with this win here in Grand Finals? They ended up second last year. They came dangerously close, but Prairie looking to pry it from their fingers players once more in their first season in Overwatch. We've got just about 9 seconds until this final series gets underway, and luckily for us, it's a little sub-series, a little sub-best of 3 within this best of 3.
Love to see it. Love to start with Garden first. My favorite of my favorite maps as well. We're going to see whether or not anybody here opts for the Lucio pick. That being said, I haven't seen anyone really specialize from either of these two teams throughout the course of any of the matches that they played throughout our run in WSSEA here. And because of that, it looks like that we aren't going to find any of those crazy rollouts that you get here.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of surprised that we don't have a little more of that boop capability here around that bridge. Even on the backside, there's a lot of little cheeky plays that you can come away with. We will see Don, though, on the Symmetra, maybe looking to roll out and get right to the center point here. So it does look like they have an opportunity with that Juno to have a little bit quicker of a rollout. But that Ragu on the Bastion now, Velcon on the Reaper, things are about to get really interesting.
Yep, already we are seeing a heavy push right around post to start things off, and notably backline too salty for you just gets run down in an instant. Morphine time with a deep shove, this time going to pay dividends here as Velcon is looking to finish off the last 2 members to get a team kill and a quick cap for the red squad.
Yeah, you know, I feel like the Don on that, I like it. You know, they want to roll out quickly, but maybe not as comfortable on that character. We see the swap to Tracer, and now right back to Genji here as well, as they're kind of aware they don't have to deal with that Mei for the time being. Some ults getting a little bit close here on the side of Sela as they got about halfway for 3 or 4 members, and now this initial bridge push can be a very, very tough one to crack.
Yeah, it's very tough as soon as you lose tempo on this map to try to get the re-hit. Now, you do have that opposite angle. You're trying to fork things, go to the far side of this one. Ragu is only 1 Bastion, having to try to look down 2 sidelines. That being said, a pivot at the right time means they will be able to find one, but here comes the heavy hitter. Senator Slime getting right back on into the action there in the bonk mode. Will be able to pick up enough to get a winning fight for Prairie, perhaps even a take.
Yeah, huge take here from Prairie. Senator Slime finding a couple nice picks there to kind of open that up. And I mean, up until that last game, Sela hadn't lost a single game yet, all regular season or postseason. So Prairie at least able to take 1 game away from them, but they're going to need to do a little bit more here if they want to win the championship.
All right, well, Ragu looking to buy space alongside the Annihilation here, dropping an ultimate. Senator Slime to get the brunt of this one as we're looking match for match here. Morphin time incredibly low, just isn't finding the healing necessary to stabilize, and yet again, Prairie will be able to win a fight.
That was Annihilation versus Annihilation as well. Not only do they win the fight, but they get the team kill. They win it in dominating fashion, and now the percentage about to be equalized out here. By the time Sela can make it back toward this point, we will have a tie game, and whoever can win this next battle is really going to extend that lead here and potentially look to close out map number 1.
All right, well, Prairie, right now, with a lot of momentum, actually going to be able to leapfrog the percentage built by Sela at that very first push. Now, though, we are going to see the re-hit. Ragu worryingly low already, having to use their ability to stabilize in this one. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to find their way out of this. Dawn is going to die with their ultimate available to them due to the blizzard, but Sane is dead, and everybody else on Red Squad side is low. Velcon trying to stabilize with the Death Blossom. Will be able to help clean up too. Mr. Meowski also falling back. Prairie High School, unfortunately, won't be able to ride this puppy home just yet, but still, there's a long mountain to climb for Sela. And on the other side, we have a Dragon Blade waiting in the wings.
Yeah, I mean, they had to use, I think, 3 ults to win that battle. Luckily for them, Ragu is still getting very, very close. Don has the blade, though, to work with as well, but they're going to need a lot of value here from this next fight as they all look to regroup here and collect around this bridge side. It does look like one kind of lingering around that backside, potentially here for a flank as well.
All right, well, one thing that I want to note here is the efficacy of Brigitte has varied a lot from map to map. Sometimes they're just flank fodder, as we're seeing here. Dawn, though, unable to actually find anybody, and while that happens, too salty for you is actually the other Brigitte that is going to get flanked in this one. Genji trying to make the most of their ultimate, unable to really find a whole lot, and meanwhile, Velcon on the other side just opens up on the enemy team, helped by Ragu's Blizzard, and what that means is that this is another 1 fight for Sela, and that could actually be enough to take this point.
Yeah, only 10% left. Someone's going to have to get back here relatively quickly here. Senator Slime very close to that ult. If someone can find a way to touch here, Senator Slime could work in with that annihilation and potentially look to win that fight. Don, though, trying to find the contention. The overtime fuse will be lit, but Don does go down to Velcon here. Unfortunately, the annihilation will come out. They continue to fight on the point. Salty, Beyonce, both finding picks. Velcon will pick up on Beyonce, and now Morphine time, an annihilation of their own. A tank versus tank, a fight back and forth, but Senator Slime has the health advantage, finds the triple, looking for the quadra as Reaper continues to dance around, but Senator Slime doing Senator Slime things will cap it off in overtime as they look to bring this one back.
A hero play at the last minute, and right there we see Sayla's biggest weakness hit them. They don't want to play patiently. They have forged so deep into the season on perfection, and now, as soon as it is taken away from them, they realize they are fighting their deepest and hardest foe yet. And there, they wanted to take this map. They wanted match point, and they will be denied it, as now, with 3 dead, Velcon with the desperation ult to the backline will find nothing off the Death Blossom, and with the fuse lit, Perry High School will move to match point.
Unreal. 100-99. Prairie looking like they were going to take an early way out in this championship, have fought tooth and nail all through the grit to get here, and now they find themselves in the driver's seat for the first time here tonight. They are the first to go to map and series point. They just need one more to lock it down. Velcon back on the Venture, Ragu on the Sojourn. Are these the swaps they need to tie this back up and send it into a best of 3 within this best of 3?
You know, I'm starting to feel, Hot Sauce, if Sayla actually just wants to lose this first fight, that might help them, because it feels like as soon as they're in the lead, their strategy is going out the window, and I think it is just coming down to trying to play under pressure. You think about the players who've stuck with this team for now 2 seasons running, and you wonder to yourself, is it the fact that they were so close before and they've been denied that they don't want to repeat history again? And that is the reason why they are trying to fight everything tooth and nail, and oftentimes losing out on opportunities because of it. Already, though, Senator Slime going to try to forge in. They want to force the issue in favor of Prairie High School. That being said, good position from Sayla is actually going to bring them to the point first. Ragu, relatively low, has to try to back off from this fight. Will be healed up by Dimensional and company and look for another engage.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised Ragu was able to make it out of that one unscathed there, but nonetheless able to do so. Sane dangerously low here as well. And now looking for the boop off the side. Dimensional able to hang on for the time being. A lot of members dangerously low on this point, but they were the first to cap it here. So every fight that happens, but Dawn picking them out of the sky. Senator Slime back to Dawn as they combine for 2. They'll retake the point, and there's already an ult on deck and ready to flex. Prairie High School looking dangerous.
And this is a great position to be in. Dawn is able to pick off basically anybody with Package Bomb because right now Blue Squad has control over all the choke points, and we can see that Dawn is happy to invest in this situation. That being said, he gets hit low early in this one, is going to have to use the rewind, and actually gets forced off the edge off the backdash. That could be backbreaking as Sailor looking to make the most out of this man advantage. Sane gets picked off on the far side of this one. Senator Slime with the annihilation is still looking to bring glory here and now to Prairie High School as Morphine Time will try to answer right back. Too Salty for You has the rally to try to draw the fight out in favor of Prairie, but Sayla will not back down. Dimensional at incredibly low health will be able to find themselves towards safety. Meanwhile, Ragu is going to get a pick on the enemy Juno, and now Too Salty for You is having to shoulder the whole healing burden if they cannot keep Beyonce up. Another push by Sayla, another attempt at glory.
Oh my, the back and forth continues. Morphine Time will have some late success in this fight, and for Sela, they have 3 ults on deck. Velcon dangerously close here as well, so the ult economy slightly favoring them, but we did see him kind of overextend and use those ults a little bit unneedingly last time, so hopefully they'll be able to lock it down this time. Mr. Meowski is going to drop the ult to kick things off and look to pressure in. Senator Slime finding the early pick on the Ragu, meaning 1 less ult in this fight as they work toward the hill. Velcon considering popping theirs. Slime, Dimensional, both finding picks, and Dawn again goes off the side of the map and takes themselves out.
And that could be enough. Velcon actually decides to use that Q you were talking about, Hot Sauce, and that means it's a retake coming right at the perfect moment. Sayla still actually have that material advantage with Ragu and Sane's ultimates available. Prairie High School now have to climb a mountain in their own right to bring it back, and they only got 40% with which to try to answer.
Not a lot of time, but the ults are building. Don has one as well. Unfortunately for Don, we've seen him slip off the side of the map now twice here, so needing to really lock it down. Senator Slime's going to open up with another pick onto Ragu. That's the second time that Ragu's not going to be able to use the ult. Salty finds Sane, early picks. Velcon goes down. Senator Slime putting the team on his back as he pops the Annihilation and absolutely annihilates the competition.
And what is an ult advantage when you have Senator Slime on your side? They have felled gods, they have felled giants, and now they are looking to take their seat at the very top of WSSEA here and now with one final map. Senator Slime gonna get the recap up to 70% to answer against the 82 from Salem High School. Don trying to stabilize. Too Salty for You is dead though. We'll trade back against Sane for the time being, but now once again Salem High School find themselves a winning fight, and given they have their Annihilation activated, they may just be able to take this home once again.
Yeah, that Annihilation there from Morphine Time was absolutely huge. Ragu, unfortunately, has gone down in these last 3 fights. Hasn't been able to pop the ult here, but now just 10% away from clutching up, and no real ults close here for Prairie High School.
They need to hit Ragu fast and hard. They cannot let the Sojourn pop ultimate, but already it is activated. Morphine Time right in the thick of things. And what in the world was that? A blazingly fast push. Prairie High School knocked out 3, make it 4. Senator Slime will not allow Salem High School an easy take to tie the series back up, and they will in fact cap at 88%.
88%. Don finds this early pick on
No way!
Velcon's down as well, and with that it could spell disaster. Sane is going to fall. Dimensional as well. They stagger out, and Prairie High School does the unthinkable.
Salem High School twice in a row will be denied in grand finals, and they will still be chasing their top spot here in WSSEA as Prairie High School, the new kid on the block, reigns champion.
Senator Slime, who else with your play of the game off the back of an Annihilation here up into the mix, finding early picks. Don, Mr. Meowski getting involved, the whole crew playing so well together, making adjustments late in the game, but they paid off. Prairie High School coming back with their backs against the wall, able to clutch it up and win the championship. Congratulations to them on a hard-fought battle. And I got to tell you, not only this was incredibly fun to watch, even more fun to cast.
Oh my goodness. Well, Sela High School really tried their very best here, and frankly, a season's pedigree comes crashing down in an instant, and it's heartbreaking to see, you know, Hot Sauce. I'm really going to start getting on the best of 5 truther train here due to the fact that we were getting a close matchup there. I think it could have been even closer the longer that series went on and they started to evolve against one another even more, but this is just a taste of what is to come here. WSSEA has built elite teams time and time again, and now we are looking at perhaps one of the strongest divisions nationally.
I mean, the talent across all of these teams here is really unmatched, and it's great to see these young students getting such a wonderful opportunity here. I mean, if you're Sela, you hold your heads high. You had another phenomenal undefeated season, and yeah, it is a little heartbreaking that it gets taken away from you right at the end, but what a great game, what a great series that you brought for everybody to really showcase all of your talents. And so, you know, for them, they hold their heads high. They had a tough battle, and they look to bounce back next year, hopefully. But for Prairie High School, their first season in Overwatch, and to be down by so much. I mean, we saw 351 in that first map, a really just dominating performance from Sela. It's like, how was Prairie going to be able to come back? And then a 320 in the second one, 320 to like 1:30, I think it was, and they bring it to overtime. They slowly start that Cinderella story, and what a story that they wrote for us here today.
And it's not over just yet. That is but the first chapter here, Hot Sauce says. I'm sure that they are going to be around for the long run here in WSSEA. We got plenty more Overwatch on the docket coming up next year, as you talked about. But we aren't even done with the WSSEA finals here just yet, as I believe that we got to tune in tomorrow for some Street Fighter.
Yeah, Street Fighter 6 coming up tomorrow for those grand finals, those championships where everything is on the line once more. Of course, that'll be starting at 4 p.m. Pacific as well. And I don't even know how to come down off of this hype, Nyarko. It was so much fun here today. It's always a pleasure to get an opportunity to be in the booth with you as well, and to get to showcase the talent of a lot of these students. But unfortunately, that is going to be all for us today. We would take another quick moment to thank all the sponsors, ZOTAC, LANFest, and of course, Seattle Built PCs for their continued support. And of course, everybody at home who was kicking it with us here today, keeping the students hype in chat, the teachers, the students, the parents, the friends, the family. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you as well. We hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. But that legend over there is Nyarko. My name is Hot Sauce. I can't leave without thanking everybody behind the scenes as well. I'll hold up. Well, where are my manners? The people behind the scenes never get enough credit. They have the tough job. Huge shout out to Connie and Taylor for always making the stream run so smoothly. None of this would be possible without them. So huge shout out to them behind the scenes. But there we go. Now that I got my manners in check, I'll remind everybody that legend over there is Nyarko. My name is Hot Sauce, and you all have been absolutely amazing. We hope to see you back here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific for that Street Fighter. Until then, take care and have a wonderful evening, everyone.